South Africa says it is concerned about reports that the United States will begin taking in white South Africans who claim they're being racially discriminated against at home. South Africa says the claims are unfounded. The Foreign Ministry said it is most regrettable that it appears that the resettlement of South Africans to the United States under the guise of being refugees is entirely politically motivated and designed to question South Africa's constitutional democracy. Relations between the two countries have been deteriorating since U.S. President Donald Trump returned to the White House with his powerful South African-born advisor Elon Musk. In February, Trump accused South Africa of confiscating land, echoing comments that Musk has made about alleged racial discrimination.
Look at this bullshit sign. President Trump and Elon Musk, please help the farmers chase away the ANC. Take over South America, please help us. I mean, you can't make this shit up with these peckerwoods. And then the sign in the middle says Stop Apartheid 2.0. He didn't have a problem with Apartheid 1.0 when for decades these peckerwoods had black people under a certain rule, under their thumb, with their knees on their neck. They had no problem with Apartheid 1.0, but now they feel that they're being discriminated against and they want help. I tell you, man, you just can't make this shit up with these peckerwoods. And these peckerwoods trying to do the same thing here in the United States, talking about they're being discriminated against. The one people on the planet who have went everywhere on this planet and have destroyed, raped, killed, murdered, destroyed the environment, the water, the air. And these people got the nerve to talk about they're being discriminated against. It's unbelievable, man.
Apartheid system, which was in place until 1994, the minority white population oppressed the majority black population, who were treated as second-class citizens. 3 decades after apartheid ended, some white South Africans say they are now facing oppression at the hands of the black majority, and some are moving, resettling to the United States. I want to pull in now Lauren Landau. He's professor of migration and development at the University of Oxford in the UK. He is also a research professor at the University of the Witwatersrand African Center for Migration and Society. Professor, it's good to have you with us this evening. The white South Africans who are applying for asylum in the United States, what are they basing their claims on?
They're basing their claims essentially on a fiction that white South Africans are being targeted, that white South Africans are disadvantaged by the new dispensation, and that they have a direct fear that they're being targeted in one way or another. Of course, their privileges of the past have been diminished somewhat, but by no means are they disadvantaged by South African standards. And so what we're seeing is, in fact, a claim based almost entirely on a fiction and on random incidents.
What about the claims by U.S. President Trump and Elon Musk that white South African farmers are victims of racial discrimination?
White South African farmers have struggled in the last 20 years, not because of racial discrimination, but because they have lost many of the subsidies that propped up white farmers during the apartheid era. They do face violence, as does everyone in South Africa. They do face economic uncertainty, as does everyone in South Africa. I think what we need to understand is that Trump's claims have very little to do with South Africa and are about his domestic campaign to show that there is global assault on whiteness, white privilege, that there is a global assault on white Christian men particularly, and this is a way of signaling that message back to his constituencies at home.
What about the man from South Africa, Elon Musk? He claims that South Africa's government is actively promoting white genocide. Is that accusation justified?
I don't think there's any justification for genocide. There is widespread crime. South Africa has an enormously high civilian murder rate. But most of the people being killed, most of the people being displaced or victimized are black. There's clearly people in South Africa who dislike the white population. There are many more who dislike Elon Musk, but there's no signs of a genocide.
The South African government has introduced various policies to redress apartheid's legacy of economic exclusion. What is the aim of these policies?
Well, the aim of the policies is essentially to restore the dignity and the opportunities that were robbed over hundreds of years from the country's black, mixed race, and other populations. There are high taxes, there are efforts to redistribute wealth, but white South Africans have one of the highest standards of living, at least in material terms, of anyone in the world. So even if they are paying taxes, even if they are contributing voluntarily or not to these kind of transformation programs, nothing is being taken away from them. They've been allowed to keep their land, they've been allowed to keep their businesses, they've been allowed to keep their privilege.
So it's not true. I mean, there have been reports of farmland expropriations taking place, that farmland has been taken away from white landowners.
There are efforts to redistribute land, to be sure. This is to compensate for the huge amount of land that was taken from people during the apartheid era. But South Africa has always compensated people for that. They can take land in the way that any other government can, to build roads, to build infrastructure. But there's been no effort, and the new laws are very clear on this effort, and in this regard, to take land without compensation.
Do these policies, I'm just wondering, do they actually correct the historical wrongs that they that they are attempting to put right? Do they do that?
Well, I think many people would say that these laws do not go far enough. There is actually some domestic support for taking land and redistributing it. The white population still owns the majority of land.
Look, fuck placating these motherfucking peckerwoods. Take your land back. Send them to America, if that's where they want to go. And take your land back, Africans. It's yours. These motherfuckers came in and hunted for hundreds of years and laid waste to your people just to steal your land. If they want to go back to America, send them back.
The militarization of America is being accelerated. The defense budget will be increased by 10%, or $54 billion, although the United States already spends more than the defense budgets of the next 7 countries combined. The paramilitary forces of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which will soon hire 10,000 more agents, and the Border Patrol, which will hire 5,000 more agents, along with Homeland Security, have all deputized local and state police to function as their auxiliaries. They will be flooded with cast-off military-issue equipment. These paramilitary forces will not disband once they have finished terrorizing and deporting some of the 11 million undocumented workers in the United States. They will turn on their next victims, Muslims, African Americans, Asians, dissidents. This militarization of society is designed to carry out the race war that Trump and those around him see as inevitable at home and abroad. In poor communities of color, this race war has already begun. Racial profiling, random police stops, raids at homes and businesses, people of color pulled from vehicles at checkpoints, seizures of individuals with no criminal records or who never committed a serious crime, imprisonment without trial, expedited deportation hearings, and removal proceedings that violate the most basic human rights. The arrest of a beneficiary of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA program, Daniel Ramirez Medina, 23, who, along with the program's other 750,000 successful applicants, had revealed all personal history to the government in applying for DACA status. Parents separated, perhaps forever, from their children. The hunted going underground. The end of the rule of law. The abandonment of the common good. The obliteration of a social state in which institutions and assistance programs, from public education to social security and welfare, make justice, equality, and dignity possible. White Europeans who are undocumented are not being targeted. The executive orders of Trump are directed against people of color. They begin from the premise that white Americans are the true victims of neoliberalism, deindustrialization, and falling living standards. The Trump orders are written not to make America great again, but to make America white.